think I hit the button. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Oh.
Hello.
It's Sunday.
We arrived.
That time again. It's
We
Sunday.
arrived relatively on time this week. Look at us go. Look at us.
Ooh. You know,
Winning
even a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right on occasion. Winning.
Winning. Hashtag sort of winning. Sort of winning.
Look at Susie's comment. I imagine our beloved
I know.
hacks.
Well, now I want to share. So, like, I already told
yeah.
the rest of admin. I was going through our Twitter bookmarks earlier, just trying to clear out old stuff. And I had bookmarked some of the nice things people had said to us during that whole people calling us hags on Twitter debacle. And every time they did, they were quoting the original jerk. Apparently, the original jerk lost their account. I just saw a bunch of stuff I had saved where it says, like, this account has been suspended. And I was like, what was that?
Shame.
Yeah, what a shame.
I'm so
disappointed.
disappointed.
What a
Couldn't have
shame.
happened to a nicer person.
Yeah.
That's such a loss of humanity.
Find Out era can be very entertaining for those who
Yeah.
fucked around.
Look around and find out.
Yeah, the internet is, of course, mourning the loss of some random asshole.
We gotta come up
Particularly
with a
morning.
theme song for that, Doc. We gotta come up with a theme song we can sing every time when we're just like, it's time for a fuck around and find out. We're gonna workshop it. We're gonna workshop
it a bit.
They have to tinker with it a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
'cause
do.
in my
Can it
mind,
be-
it was either Another One Bites of Dust or the Cops theme song.
Can
Those
it
are the
be?
only two
But
choices.
can it be? It's time to shibal around and find out. I mean, because I really think
Doesn't flow off.
Sappho,
you're right.
Can we do it like a side?
Sappho really
Can we do
doesn't
it like-
flow
I'm
the
always-
same.
Almost
You're right,
always
you're
wearing
right.
my hat.
You know
so-
what? Never mind.
You know what?
It's fine. It's fine.
You know
We
what?
all
Never
know we mean
Another
deep
BTS song, by the way.
inside our. Every time we say Fafo, in our hearts, we are also saying Shabal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
implied. It's implied, right?
It's implied. It is. It is kind of like a given there.
And
It's-
I have so many favorite shabals, but the one that always comes to mind is Yoongi in Tiny, walking with his little bare legs and bare feet back to the couch in his studio and just beating on his couch with his fist. Yeah, that's probably the particular shabal that comes to mind most often.
Yes.
him beating in Tiny was so fucking great.
So cute.
I don't know what my hair is doing. It's doing things.
What is it? What's it doing? It's got a mind of its own.
It's like the
Yeah.
one piece.
Good reminder to our community who is in Oakland today or tomorrow. Have so much fun.
Yes.
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 Have fun.
Is that tonight? Is first night
Yeah.
I
tonight?
think first
Tomorrow.
night. I know
First night is
Leslie and Riven
tomorrow?
are there. I think Lissa's there.
Yes.
So-
A few other project
wait.
people are there. Yeah, Leslie and Riven are there. Leslie's already run into a bunch of project people. People are handing out our info.
Oh, that was so good. I
cool.
was like, I made that.
Yeah.
I made that little thing.
Yep, it's really nice.
So cool.
Apparently, they have a flower. Okay, Hobie's not going to watch our lives before he goes to his concert.
Yeah, I think he's busy.
He's busy. It's fine. He'll watch it later. But I think they're planning a flower project for him. Like they handed out flowers to everybody. So during Sweet Dreams, everybody is supposed to hold up like flowers for him.
Oh, that's cute.
So cute. Yeah.
That's really cute.
Exciting.
That's so nice.
Oh, Janie and Leslie are going to hook up tomorrow. That's so nice. Maybe you'll get to meet Riven too. If she's not hiding in a corner hissing at everyone.
Mm,
I mean,
I don't know.
She'll be okay. She'll be okay.
Yeah, approach gently as you would
Approach
an
gently.
unbroken horse.
as you would a possum.
Let her smell your hand first.
Maybe hand her small photos of Jin.
She's gonna come shank us.
You can appease her with gin. Just give her some gin. Gin. Gin.
Jin. Hi, April.
That's exactly.
Hi.
No, so yes, if you guys are here tonight, if you're not, we totally understand. But yeah, have fun.
Yes.
And
Let
The
us know
concert
what,
is
what he gets
tomorrow
up to.
night. The concert
Hard
is
to believe that his
tomorrow night.
American dates are already almost done.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tomorrow is also Riven's birthday.
Yes,
and I
it
know she's
is.
gonna
Yeah.
said it, but everybody,
see J-Hope for her birthday.
yes, she gets J-Hope for her birthday. So everybody give a happy birthday in the comments. Well, slightly early, but happy birthday to Riven.
He's gonna just thrust all in her face
Happy
for her
birthday.
birthday.
Yep, all the
Yeah,
best
he
day
is.
for you.
All the
Just
best
for you.
days for your
All the
birthday.
birthday, all the mic drop. Just for you.
Mhm.
What a wonderful birthday present.
Perfect birthday. It's almost as good as having one of them come
Glorious.
home on your birthday, but you know,
Almost, isn't it?
or two.
I mean,
I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna be insufferable.
This is gonna be our entire
Insufferable.
personality.
you know what?
It's funny. It was bad when we got on army time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that was bad.
You just wait.
That was
Members
bad.
Come home on their
Just you
birthdays.
wait. Just you wait.
Well, we're getting more people that were on army time. Lana was on army time.
I know.
Yes, she was.
Lana getting on army time trolling V is the greatest thing
Trolling
I've ever seen.
It's amazing.
Rolling Taehyung. And then she came into the
God.
server and she was like, "Should I make a fan letter with this sign?" And I said, "You absolutely should make a fan letter
Yes,
with
you
this sign."
Absolutely.
And she did.
And
Absolutely.
she
Nobody
did.
loves
Yeah.
trolling people on the internet like Kim
We should have
Trolling,
everybody
and
with
he
one of our
loves
signs.
it.
Put one
Yeah.
of their signs with like a photo of themselves at the concert with their sign, even if it didn't make it up, on a fan letter and send it to him. That way he sees them all.
Yeah.
That's
Aw,
cool.
Yeah.
that's a cute
Yeah.
idea.
But anyway, her sign said, if you didn't see it, it is in the server, but her sign said, V, this concert is really great. He was complaining about not being
And
able to-
and to that, he saw that and did a little ta-ta mic like this, and then went and did some angry push-ups. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sure.
to
He
bulk
was
up a little
really
bit more.
tempted he was really tempted to post something on Weavers without wearing his shirt off, but he didn't, alas.
It's true.
Don't invoke that, Patricia, please.
I am. Sorry,
I have I have about a
Wish
small
that-
amount of sanity left, and in one more week, I'm going to begin an entire month writing about him.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's not
I was
good.
gonna say not.
It's
too
not,
much dread.
Get ready. She's gonna be flapping in the
Can't
watch
be
parties.
ready. You
It's
can't
gonna
be
so
ready. No,
It's
you
gonna be
can't
good.
be ready for this man. It's not possible. It's not.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But
Everything's
speaking
fine,
of being
guys.
ready,
It's all
Steph,
fine.
Good things.
want to welcome
Oh.
everybody?
Welcome everybody to Army Project 529 Sunday Night Live here on YouTube. And you've got the whole team tonight, which
Everybody's
is
here.
rare nowadays. So I'm going to go in order of what I see on YouTube. First, we have Patricia. Say hi,
Oh.
Patricia.
Hi.
Patricia is our spreadsheet warrior and our map person. She invented, created, and maintains the Moss City map, where all of you can go in and put your little army bomb close to where you live and use your social media handle so that people can reach out to you. I am so proud of that map because the number of people that came up to us in Chicago and said they saw the map, were on the map, heard about the map, saw it in Reddit, saw it wherever. Everybody knows about the map. So, and a lot of people have met friends and made friends because of the map. So, well done, Patricia.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Well-
5,500 people think the same thing. So great.
Yes.
5,000.
We
That's
are
amazing.
global on that map, which is very exciting. Very exciting. And if you ever want to go on vacation and you're going to go somewhere, go pull up the map and see if you can find some people where you're going to go, make some new friends. Then to to the right of me, if you're looking at the screen, is Doc. She is a real Doc, and she's really cool.
She doesn't
And
just play one on YouTube.
she's
I don't
what?
pretend to be
She
one.
doesn't just play one on YouTube.
No,
she
she
is
does
a real
not. She does not. And she does all of our research. She heads up our content crew, and anything you need to know, you can ask her. And if she can't do it, she gets Leslie and Ribbon involved, and they can figure it all out together. And she's the one that creates everything, puts all the content together, and then she hands it down over to Quince. So now I'm going out of order. Who's in the middle bottom? And Quince writes all of our blog posts, and it has walked us through now 63 weeks
Yep, about to be there.
content. So she's our writer. And then we have Katie, our golden Magne. She is under Doc. And I'm sitting here looking. This is weird because I'm looking at two different. They're totally different on the different screens.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Very
I'm
Brady
pointing the wrong
Bunch.
place all the time. I'm
I
pointing
know.
every place.
So Miss Katie keeps everything under control. She does spreadsheets. She does websites. She does merch. What else? Oh, she's on the planning team for the Kansas City meetup. She handles all of our books. Social media, everything. She's in everything.
Nerd stuff.
And then we have Christina, last but not least. Christina does our website. She chooses our image and designs the web, puts everything on the website. She also designs our graphics. She's a graphic designer. She's also got her own store that you can check out. What's that store called online, Christina?
It's called Sugar Punk Shop, and we'll talk about that later because I think I'm gonna start putting some of my best designs up in the 529 shop. We'll see. Kind of the way you did, Steph. You had
cool.
some awesome designs at you. So
I only have
we'll
one.
see. Yeah, we'll see. And by the way, I'm a graphic designer by hobby, not by
She's
trade
very good.
profession. So
She's very good.
Just FYI.
She's very good. And now I just saw in our Discord, the admin team Discord, that Katie and Christina are now working on our Moss City Meetup t-shirt. So they're getting to work on that. So that is our team. And we are a little more than a year into this project. And the 529 means 529 days before January 1st, 2024 and FESTA 2025, which was the original intent of the project to get us through that lonely period of not having any content. We were going to go through and watch old content, and plans changed, but now we have evolved. And so here we are. That's
Here we are.
Excellent. And if you're here with us tonight, you could be baby Army, you could be brand new, or you could be OG Army that's been with them since pre-debut. We welcome all levels of Army, so we're glad you're here. Welcome.
yes.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay. So, as Steph said, we're all about finding Army community. We all have made friends during this year. I'm meeting a bunch of them actually in a couple of weeks to go see Golden, the exhibition in New York. I thought we were going to be 10. We're going to be like 15. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Oh, cool.
That's
It's
awesome.
going to be pretty crazy. We have to find a place to all congregate before we go. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, we have a map. I put you in the map. Check the map. And we also have meetups in person. We are planning one in July. We're all going to get back together in Kansas City. We did it last year in September. We're doing it this year, the same place again, but we're doing it for double the time. And you can find all the information in ap529.com/links. So there's still space. And yeah, Max Zeus just said that she's coming, and yeah, she's coming, and I just found out, and it's gonna be awesome. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Susan's been on the move. She's truly become a groupie for
She is a groupie for sure.
She's
In the best way.
in the best way. Yeah.
I love it.
It is.
So
If I could be a groupie, I too would
Right?
be willing to
I would
screw
too.
around.
she's coming for
If I could
JJ,
make it work.
And she's
and
always representing, like she always has her AP529 sign
Right.
up.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's awesome.
and it's gonna be great because there are some people that we met at the concert that we never met before. They're gonna be there in a couple of weeks, and we'll tell you everything. We'll tell you what we see in that exhibition. So that
Wow.
That's so cool. Andrea asked, how has the meetup grown in numbers?
I think we're just a little shy of 100 people right now.
Nice.
So it's slightly more than what we had last year, but we're looking. We still have space.
I think we had 95 last year, so we're right around there right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
so it's gonna be.
That's
We
so
have
much fun.
space for up to 150. So if
Yes.
you want to go,
Yes, and we briefly mentioned last week, if you're interested in going and you haven't found a roommate, you can go ahead now and sign up individually, and we will try to pair you with a roommate. It's not like binding. We'll just introduce you to someone, and you can decide if you would like to room together. So all the information for that and the map is at the link that's pinned in the chat, ap529.com/links. links.
It's going to be such a good time.
And the hotel staff is going to become Army. Somebody said they're going to be exhausted. No, they're going to become Army. We made.
They loved us
last year.
They loved us last year.
One of the staff members from the last time we were at his hotel said that the next time we come into town, they're taking that weekend off so they can join us.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Also, last year they were all still military, and this year they're all out.
They're all out.
So who knows?
They're all gonna be home.
Who knows? I mean, we've
never
got
know
some
what
AV
might
equipment.
happen.
If they go live, we'll throw that up on in the conference TV. I don't want to promise that.
Yeah.
We'll try to figure it out.
No.
But what we're excited about though is 100+ Army all in the same room, and all of their Weverse notifications go off at the same time. It's going to be amazing.
And then we'll find out who gets it the fastest.
It was pretty cool when there were like 40 or 50 of us in the lobby of the hotel when that notification went off. Like that was pretty fucking cool. And
Yeah.
so
It
now
was
it's
like
gonna be
really loud
more
and then
than
really
that.
quiet. Because we all were screaming and then we all watched.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone was like, shut up. Kobe's live.
Yeah.
You want to say?
Okay. Steph mentioned our blog. It's one of the biggest parts of our project. We are content and community here. We've been talking a lot about the community part. Content part mostly revolves around our blog for now. But anyway, we are in the home stretch of our blog. We are in week 63 right now. It is week 3 of March. We started last year chronicling BTS's entire discography in chronological order. When we reached the end of BTS's discography, we started in on the solo discographies, and each member got their own month. We have made our way through in fan chant order. We are at Jimin now, and we have been walking through his solo career, and it's been wonderful. Last week we covered Face. Our weekly content watch party was amazing. Everyone had such a good time. We really enjoyed diving deep into the album and getting into everything that Jimin was going through when he was writing it. And so next week, it will be week 64, and I will talk more about that at the end of the live. But if you haven't checked it out, they're all up there. You can find them on our website, ap529.com/blog, and check them all out. It's a lot of fun. It's really great.
For free. There's no ads on those blog pages either.
No.
So you don't have to scroll through ads or anything. Just for free.
Mm-hmm.
Click all the links. It's good stuff.
It's exciting stuff. It really is. So for those of you who are new to us, we go live twice a week. We go live every Sunday for our Sunday deep dive, which is tonight. And we go live every Wednesday for our midweek tea. So during our deep dive, we find a topic that's pertinent to where the blog is at or current events, and we take a deep dive as a group into that subject. And so tonight we're talking about how the COVID-19 pandemic affected BTS and especially how it affected Jimin. And as we are wrapping up March, mostly because it heavily affected the Face album and what he was going through when he wrote that album. And so we're going to talk about it. And so you're going to want to stick around for that. Before we get to that, we're going to talk about some HOTS highlights because Jay has done some shit. He's doing some shit out in these here streets. So
You know what? Just
I said it like Hot Pocket.
I think he has taken arson too seriously, and he's just literally like setting the entire trail of fire through every place he goes. You know, fire,
Yep.
fire,
Yep.
fire.
he's got locals going, who is this?
Who is it? Who is this?
And then I love it when they're like, wait, J-Hope of BTS? That yes.
That guy.
Go check them out.
Same thing that happened when
Yeah, movie.
On the Street came out. A bunch of people were like, who is this? Like on a song with J. Cole. Now people are
Right.
like, who is this with this bouncy ass track?
Yep.
So yeah, he was in Mexico and San Antonio. Mexico City was wild.
Oh my
was
gosh, they
amazing.
were on fire
Amazing.
down there.
They had a mariachi band outside the venue playing BTS songs.
That is
Do you
amazing.
really need do you really need anything else?
Yeah.
They had a mariachi J-Hope cutout happening.
Mhm.
Fucking hilarious.
I mean,
I was obsessed.
the mariachi band playing Airplane Part 2 and the part El Mariachi was so meta. I kind of loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Becky G verse, which Spanish-speaking army sang in every venue in the United States when it came to Mexico, was deafening. And the man was so happy to hear Mexican army basically doing the job for him.
Right.
They were so loud.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's fantastic.
It was
And I
hilarious.
think I read the last time a BTS member had a concert there was 10 years ago
Wow.
in Mexico, I believe.
I believe
So
so,
Mexican
yeah.
armies showed up, showed out. So awesome.
I'm so happy
And we
for them.
mentioned this on Wednesday. Bang PD was there, and he was hanging out with the head of Hive Latin America and with the Telemundo big boss. So, you know,
Things are in the works.
Army
Maybe
came-
Hobie's going to be on a telenovela. Who knows?
Oh,
He would be so good at that.
I would be so good.
He would be.
I don't speak Spanish, but I also don't speak Korean, and that doesn't stop me from watching.
Wouldn't
Fuck Off.
stop one bit.
I will watch.
I want.
I love how the
Exactly.
Mexican army adopted him. They were like,
It was
yo,
so
hermano,
cute.
tú eres
You know who I
mexicano.
can see that-
Tú eres mexicano ahora.
Kobe, hermano.
You know who I
Kobe, hermano.
Very loud.
completely see
I-
embracing on a telenovela are Jimin and Taehyung,
I was gonna
because
say-
they already act out all these scenarios in their head as it is.
Yes.
So
and
those two
Hobie would
just
get really into it. Jin would get really into it.
Right,
yeah.
right.
It'd
Would be
glorious.
interesting.
It'd be glorious.
I mean, Namjoon and Jimin did a pretty good job doing that verse of Becky G in Spanish. So maybe they can make them speak Spanish phonetically. I mean, and V practiced when he was doing Gina's Kitchen in Mexico. So, you know, you can always make them speak Spanish.
That's true.
All right, and then on
You know
San
what? I
Antonio.
would live for Bangtan speaking Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
I would die, and I don't even speak the language, but I would just die hearing them. Hearing
Oh,
them
there's
do
a
that.
pretty fantastic ad from when they went to Chile like years ago. And it's a jewel to watch. I'll send it to you, Doc.
Do it.
San Antonio was up
Do
next.
it. Oh man, shit happened in
And,
San Antonio.
Now we have Cowboy Hobie. Yep.
Listen, I don't own a pair of cowboy boots, but I saw somebody on Twitter breaking it down and basically saying if he just bought those new cowboy boots and he was dancing Nuran in those brand new cowboy boots, then he is a professional, because this person was saying cowboy boots, you got to break them in before they're even comfortable. And he probably got those boots that day and he was dancing like a fiend in them. So hats off to Hobie.
Yeah.
Um,
And well, and on night 2, he pulled out the white felt cowboy hat.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. He did that. That's the fancy cowboy hat, and he tipped his hat to all of us. And the natives, night 2, when he had the white felt cowboy hat, the one that fit him, he wore that thing correctly. This is what I've been told.
The best part was when they wanted him to learn how to say howdy, y'all. And so
And he did.
He looked it up and he learned it from SpongeBob.
Well, and ironically, he learned it
Football
from
the
a
thing.
squirrel-based character on SpongeBob.
Yeah,
Or
because
chipmunk.
the squirrel Sandy Cheeks is actually from Texas, and it comes from that episode. And I know because I worked on Nickelodeon when that thing dropped. So
There you guys go. There's some more Patricia lore.
I was just gonna say,
Patricia lore.
add it to the Patricia lore.
I mean,
Real ones-
am I
real ones
surprised? Not at all. But am
it
I also not even a little bit surprised that Jung Ho-sik decided to learn how to yell from a squirrel, a cartoon? Not even a little bit. It's so Hobie coded. It's so Hobie coded.
Yep.
It was cute too. Oh my gosh.
So that was fantastic. And I love still to if you saw him for the first time and this is the like I love reading those accounts and seeing people's pictures and videos on their accounts of basically they're just blown away by him. And I love it. So
somebody said he was speaking U.S. Satori.
American Satori. Yes.
He fucking know.
Totally.
I'm done.
No, that's Southern Satori.
Fantastic.
Satori.
That's well, one of my favorite phrases that I always want to use one day is "annyeonghaseyo."
Yeah. Annyeonghaseyo.
No, y'all. It ends in y'all.
But good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
He was also like saying yeehaw a lot in that.
Yeah, he was.
When in Texas. Look.
Just cram in all the phrases.
He said it a whole.
He was like learning all the Texas Satori.
He was. And even though he was so tired and getting over being sick, he comes on the live and tells us like, I was so excited to talk to you guys that I just couldn't wait. I had to hop on the live.
Oh,
And then
so
when his little when he hears the people chanting his name, and he's like, he just perks his ear up like this, and I'm just like, oh, I just love it. I love it when the J Hope finally hits him, and he's like,
in Mexico, yeah.
He acts surprised for a second, and then he's like,
yeah. He's like, that's my name, and I'm like, J Hope. So I love that part.
It's the cutest.
Get that excited. I know.
Ugh.
And it doesn't it make you think back to the Wembley?
Yes.
When he's in the white suit and he's just like, he gets all, he's like, I want more, louder. That's what it always reminds me of. But
It's so cute.
yeah,
Oh
so
my gosh.
I'm so glad that every city he's going to, he's just getting all the love and all the kudos that he deserves, because the man is consistent with it. He is delivering 100 out of 10 every single freaking performance. So
every single one.
Yeah, and it's like just like when Suga got sick too for his tour. It's like they get sick and it just, you can't tell. If you showed me that clip and said he was sick, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like so I don't know, Doc, you're a real doctor. I mean, he's just like he was sick.
It's impressive. No, it's impressive the way they perform when they're sick.
By the way, the Korean doctor that took care of him in Mexico City was at the concert with his wife.
Oh, that's nice.
And some armies that were standing in front of him actually took pictures with him and everything and thanked him personally, which was pretty cool.
Oh,
that's so cool.
Yeah, JK was sick in New York as well. Yeah. But this poor man, every time he comes to New York, he actually calls in the rain because it always rains like this here.
Oh,
it gets rained on.
JK really does bring in the rain.
Freezing cold or whatever, but the poor thing always gets the worst weather.
Looks draggled and sad.
Yeah. Oh man, they for the PTP concert too in Vegas, they like 3 of them were getting over COVID too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell at that concert either. Wow.
Well, yeah, because like J-Hope was only cleared to come to the U.S. like 2 days before that scammy performance.
Grammys.
Yeah.
And then they had the concert right after.
Wow. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm sick, I can't do any of that.
I'm not going to get on stage and perform in front of thousands of people when I'm sick.
That's not what I do when I'm sick.
Luckily, we don't have to.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. But that's that's when you're operating at that level, man, the professionalism. Makes me so proud. And I love it. I love when locals praise and like general public praise. I do love that. But it's also just like when armies, it's just so exciting to see armies also like, they really are that good. I'm standing the right group. Yes, you are. 100%.
Speaking of making people proud, we like to make Menyungi proud by
By awkwardly asking for your support.
I mean, awkward is just kind of, yeah.
I mean,
Is it
awkward is just sort
awkward?
of a state
No.
for me. So it's
boldly,
less
boldly
awkward than
and
we used to be.
proudly asking for the money.
yes. So, if you have enjoyed what we've done so far, if you continue to enjoy what we do, the lives, the Discord, the blog, the watch parties, the meetups, the map, all of that stuff. I'm sure I forgot something. I'm sorry, whoever's thing I forgot. You can support what we do and help buy our tickets to the next concert and help pay for our website hosting and all the stuff that we have to pay for, including our time that we spend on this. So there's a couple ways you can do that. I'm going to talk about one. Christina's going to talk about another. The first is Patreon, and I talk about this every week. It's just a monthly subscription you can set up. That the tiers we have set up are $3, $5, and $10 a month. They each come with some benefits, and the top tier comes with a private Discord channel that we've been trying to be better about pinging that channel when we have lives to ask if there's anything people want us to talk about. We definitely give that group of people a little bit more access and input than everybody else. So. Oh, thank you. Somebody's typing in the agenda and they are correct. So yeah, if you'd like to support us, if you have the means to do so, we would totally appreciate it. You can find more information at the pinned link, ap529.com/links. You can go check it out there. And okay. Sorry, somebody's messaging me. Yeah, we are planning lots of cool stuff for our Violet VIPs who have been there, new and old. But I want to quickly give a shout out, and my link is not working, to some of our more recent Patreon members, because we have had a few new subscribers.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Hang on.
Give Tammy claps.
So yeah, this month, thank you very much to joining our Patreon to Trina, Joanna, Evie, and Noemi.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And if you've signed up for our Patreon at the $10 a month tier and you aren't in the Discord channel yet, it's because I need your Discord username. We send you an automated message when you sign up, but please shoot us an email, or there's a way to send messages in Patreon to tell me who you are in Discord, and we'll make sure we get you added. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Next.
Cool.
Christina, how else can you support us?
Yeah, next is the merch shop. If you are a fan of merch that is in-house designed, we do subtle designs, basically for Army by Army. So general public might look at one of our shirts and go, I don't even know what that means. You nice, keep going. What does that even mean? Whereas Army would be like, hey, you nice, keep going. So we design that stuff in-house. We have a lot of fun doing it. And lately the whole admin team has gotten in on the shenanigans for the design, and it's been great. So if you go to ap529.com/shop, or it's in the links that Katie put right there, you can take a look at our merch, and we're adding new stuff all the time. And I know that we were all super, super proud when we were in Chicago and people were just walking by with our merch on that they wore to Hobie's concert. That is so cool. And thank you so much, because that means the world to us. And so it's a good way to help support us, as well as get some cool Army designed merch that is usually I go for unisex. We have up to 5XL in our sizes in our t-shirts. Our t-shirts are super nice and soft.
Very
because
soft.
we're picky and we're a little bougie and we don't like cheap stuff. Okay?
I promise you we could find a cheaper t-shirt and make more money, but it would not be smooth like butter.
It wouldn't be nice.
It
wouldn't feel so good.
Also,
Exactly.
I can vouch for the
They're
fact,
so
if this is
bougie.
relevant to anyone, the women's relaxed shirt, if you go up a size, does work for maternity.
Oh, cool.
If this is relevant to anyone.
All right.
Because they're
Right.
stretchy.
See,
So,
look,
yeah.
Katie, look how far Katie went to test our merch.
And that's the
Cheers.
reason why we don't have different clothes.
We take research
Because we
seriously.
all get the
here,
same
guys.
merch.
Yeah.
Very,
We
very
take our R&D
Project very
serious.
seriously around here.
Yeah, so we're doing new stuff all the time. I want to do a pet line. Ooh, yes. Yes.
I want a pet line. I have pets.
Pet bowls and leashes and little pet things. Like, I'm super excited about that. So anyways, and if you have any ideas and you want to share with us, let us know. Say, I've always wanted a design that does this, or on this particular piece of or this particular product, and we'll take a look. So yeah,
I would
thank
like
you
a
very
piece
much.
of merch with Hobie and a cowboy hat, please.
I know, right?
Yes.
Goodness.
I was gonna say, how many ways can we reuse that same on the street
I know. It's like,
type
can
graphic?
we just use the same image with the hat?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Okay, no, I
Work has to be done. to
Calm
make
down.
it
But
like
my
you
brain was already like, but if I took the just don't forget that. Somebody write that down. But I wanted to mention, more importantly, speaking of supporting, because not only do we stand 7 incredible performers and professionals, but we also stand 7 incredible humans as well. So we should mention that recently Busan in Korea had really bad wildfires and has done a lot of property damage and people, it's been very dangerous. And our guys did official, basically responses in donating to charity. And the charities that Bangtan has donated to are the Korean Red Cross, which only accepts bank transfers in won. So if you're looking at that as an option, it only accepts bank transfers in won. But the Hope Bridge Disaster Relief is another one that if you wanted to donate to the charities that they also themselves donated to, that does accept PayPal. So yeah, so it's just you just know that you stand amazing human beings, because of course they would want to help with that as best they could.
Yes. So
yeah.
I think 4 or 5 of them at this point have made public donations. Several of them may have made private donations that they didn't publicize.
Yes, and
Right.
many other Korean idols and celebrities have as well.
Yes. And I love that about Army is as soon as we hear that the guys, did something, then we rush to help as well. So if you are interested, those are the 2, the Korean Red Cross and the Hope Bridge Disaster Relief are
Yes,
the 2.
we had some requests to share that information.
Yep. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Oh, it's me this week. So, yeah, now we're gonna do our deep dive. We did our interlude. Now we're gonna do our big topic of the night. We have about an hour left, and we wanted to talk about, number one, we're coming up on, we're actually basically in the 5-year anniversary of when COVID started, and I've seen a lot of just news articles, kind of retrospective of, it's been 5 years. Let's look back at what happened, what's changed, etc. But also we are hopefully coming up on sometime in the next, year and a half, a tour to replace the tour that never was. And we're also wrapping up Jimarch, and with Face and Muse. Face was heavily influenced by Jimin's experience during the pandemic. So that's kind of how we got here, is what do we want to talk about this week? So we want to talk about how the pandemic affected BTS as a group, and then of course Jimin individually, since it's his month that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just as a little heads up too, this particular topic can be somewhat triggering for some people. And so just take care of yourselves, friends. We're going to talk a little bit about how hard the pandemic was for people, and how it relates to BTS. So just a little bit of a trigger warning for you if you're feeling, if you have sensitivities towards that. So
Indeed.
Yeah. I put this later, but I actually want to start here. Let's start with Patricia. Would you mind sharing a tiny bit of what you were doing at the time? Where were you living? What was your work like? Whatever you can share. I don't want you to share anything you're uncomfortable with, but kind of who was Patricia 5 years ago?
I was in my mid-40s. I was living in New York. I had a middle school child. It's kind of interesting because I went to work the week before we got on lockdown, and there was a bunch of coworkers who went to Switzerland for work and came back. And there was one case in the Switzerland office. So they got locked down when they got back. And that week I was in the office, but half of my coworkers were not in. And then right after, we all got locked down, and I was working from home with a kid in middle school and fighting for my life to get toilet paper. I was literally
in New York City.
Yeah, I was like 20 minutes away from a hospital here in New York City that was in all the news and appeared in all the news. Because my neighborhood is an immigrant neighborhood. There's a ton of people that lived in small apartments, a lot of people. So there was a lot of cases. And going to the supermarket took me around 3 hours because there were lines that went around the block several times. So yeah, it was gnarly here. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Steph,
Yeah.
what about you?
I mean, I was kind of working a job where we were right up front having to deal with it. And, you know, we shut down for a little bit. We did not shut down in Oklahoma nearly like everybody else did. We were, you know, I was home for maybe a couple of weeks and then everything kind of, you know, we didn't really have the shortages and stuff here and all that. So sometimes when I hear people talk about it, it's almost like I didn't experience the same thing. Which is always very interesting. But COVID is when I kind of got into Korean stuff because I watched Crash Landing on You. And that's kind of where I started down the rabbit hole of Korean dramas and stuff, which eventually led me to BTS. So, yeah, I had not met BTS yet. I was close, but Sean and I were here in this house. We had just lived here for a period of time. We started a garden. You know, we were like, oh, we're going to have so much great. So we started a garden and we just thought, oh, we're going to be farmers. And yeah, so that was my life.
And also, that's kind of why I asked, because I knew we had a range of experiences here. Yeah. Doc, what about you?
So I was in a really weird position because I was in a 2-year non-compete transition from my former employer to the clinic I work at now. And so I was being forced to pull to a different town for 2 years temporarily, and then COVID hit. And so all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'm in this temporary position, and then there's all of this. And then I got really lucky in that I got signed on as a corporate physician. And so I took care of all the employees for a rather large corporation. And so the majority of that got to be done during like via telemed. And so I got really lucky in that during that 2-year non-compete era, I was working as a corporate physician. And so I got to escape a lot of the hospital chaos. But that corporation was considered essential, and I was able to keep all of their employees out of the hospital. So that was helpful. We were able to keep everybody healthy during that time. So that was really super helpful for me. I too fell down the K-drama rabbit hole during that time. I watched every K-drama and C-drama that was available on Netflix at the time. Some of them more than once. And so it really wasn't that far of a jump at that point to fall into BTS when my friend went to their PTD like concert with the theater version. So it wasn't that far of a slippery slope since I had spent so much time absorbing K-dramas at that point. I'm a binge watcher. I blame my ADHD for that. So I'll watch an entire series in like a day or two because I won't sleep much. What? I know, you're shocked. I know this shocks every one of you. You're like, what? I never knew that about it. I know. Okay. A surprise. So it was a weird transition phase when it all hit. And so then I ended up kind of lucky in that era.
Yeah. All right. I didn't have any kids yet, and I was working in the construction industry at the time. I did office work, so like purchasing and estimating and project management, and we fairly quickly, because my role didn't require being in the office, we fairly quickly started working from home, and I ended up not going back after I had my daughter, so I never worked in an office again. They tried to make me come back like 6 weeks before my daughter was born, and I was like, no, thank you.
No,
No, thank you. Yeah, I was basically like, I can just quit now. And they were like, no, don't do that. So yeah, it was a pretty weird time. We had just moved into this house, which is in the same neighborhood as my parents. So I would go, and they're on the older end for being a parent of somebody my age. So I did grocery shopping for them, and I would like literally come like drop the groceries at their garage, and drive away. But yeah, fortunately we did not get COVID, at least that first year. So we were pretty lucky. And I got really into woodworking. I did not fall down the Korean rabbit hole. We just moved into this house.
Woodworking.
Seriously, I built like a workshop, and I would go do like Home Depot pickups, and I was like building stools and like recipe book holders,
7 wheel cutting boards,
listening to Lord of the Rings ebooks. I was like, for a while, I was like, I am a hobbit. This is the life for me. Like, I don't need to see anybody. I don't know. Maybe 8 months later, I was like, this is really depressing.
all the comments, Hajima wood carving. I love it.
Before you even knew Hajima. Yoongi, before you even knew who Yoongi was.
No, I didn't know who Yoongi was at the time. So that was me. I was working from home, working remotely. Just trying to, I think I've told this story on TikTok before. Like I said, I live in the same neighborhood as my parents, and there was, I think at some point near the beginning, we were like, okay, we should have, because every day was the same. It got very weird. Every day was the same for a while. Yeah. And so we were like, let's make Friday fun again. Let's do Friday happy hour, like just my parents and me. Which, you hit a certain age and you're like, yeah, sure, I'm going to go get drunk with my parents. So there I was. My mom was like, come, like, bring a bottle of wine from your fridge. But also I had to bring back a garden shovel I had borrowed from her. So I'm like in my pajamas and my rain boots, like walking down the street with a shovel and a bottle of wine. And I'm just like...
Just COVID things.
Like,
I got drunk with my ex-husband, so
that's
pretty much COVID things.
It was a weird time for everybody.
Weird time.
All right, Lisa, what were you doing? Or Quint, sorry.
I was living in New Orleans, which was very strange. I was just winding up my 12-year career in retail. I used to travel and open up new stores around the country. But I had my fill by that point. So literally a month before COVID happened, I had left my retail job, which turned out to be great because everybody got furloughed. Or laid off. So I was kind of in a transitory period anyway. I was doing some freelance social media stuff for a local auto shop that were friends of the family of my partner that I was with at the time. And this is kind of around the time that I started becoming a freelance editor. But I also, and this was something because, that time was a period of great helplessness. I know we all probably at different times felt very helpless. There wasn't, you're looking at the news and you're like, there's nothing I can do except stay home or whatever, do what they tell me to do. So I started on the side, doing grocery delivery so that it was my way of trying to help people who couldn't do those things, because I was not immunocompromised and I could leave the house as long as I had a mask on. I had a car, I could get around, I could do that. And there were lots of people who couldn't, especially in the South. There's a lot of disabled and elderly people in the area that I lived in particular. So I did that because it was just a way, one, for me to make money, and two, for me to feel like I was helping people. So I started doing that, and that's what I did during pretty much the bulk of the pandemic. So I was never home. I was never on lockdown. I was always out and about doing something. But it was weird being in New Orleans because it's such a people city. It's a tourist city, and that city relies on the tourist industry. And the city completely shut down. The French Quarter was a ghost town. They canceled Mardi Gras, which never happens. And so it was just very, very, very strange. But that's what I was doing. And also fighting for toilet paper, but I was fighting for toilet paper for other people.
Yeah. New York was so weird too. It was completely empty. Yeah. It was nobody on the street. Yeah.
That's it.
All right, Christina.
Okay, well, before it hit, I was enjoying my career as a coder. I had been at the same place for 16 years. And then when COVID hit, they sent us all home, said, work from home. Good luck with that. And then the school sent home my 4-year-old and said, good luck with that. And then my mom, unfortunately, got cancer, and I moved her in to my house with us, and good luck with that. So I ended up. It was way too much. I tried to keep it going with my career that I was very proud of, and was a lot of my identity as well. But it just became way too much. And so I ended up having to quit my job, which I know a lot of women, especially who are caretakers all over the country and countries that were affected by COVID, also had to do. Because my husband's job was, wear a mask. That was it. That was all that changed for my husband, was he just had to wear a mask to his job. Whereas my job got completely, they kicked everybody off of campus, and it was just a huge mess. So I found myself really, really adrift without my corporate identity, I guess you could say. And then also trying to take care of a very young child and my mom as she was going through her health crisis. And that was really the time when I was like, okay, I can sit here and just get really, really depressed about all this and only talk with my mom, the only other adult in the house, about medical stuff. Or I saw this episode where there's these 7 Korean guys fighting over a rice cooker, and this might be funny. So let's try this instead. So I watched a bunch of Run BTS episodes, and then I was like, oh, okay, they make music too. Okay. Wow, this is really good. Hey, Mom, we have a new thing. And she's like, what? We have this new thing. There's this band called BTS, and there's this whole thing called K-pop. And anyways, I'll explain more later. Watch this video, okay? And by morning, when we're having coffee, you have to pick I think it's called a bias, okay? So this is what we just do. I said, so here's the rule, though, okay? Here's the rule in this house. I have this bias. Let me look at him. Hold on just a minute. I have this bias. You can't have him. You can't have the same one. Okay, his name is Min Yoon Gi. You can't have that one. But there's 6 others. So the next morning we're having coffee, and she's like, I did it. I got one. And I said, really? Who? And she says, this guy right here. And I said, Kim Taehyung. Good choice. So we didn't look back. BTS became my lifeline, my joy, something that I was able to connect with my mom, that wasn't talking about treatments and chemo and all that other stuff. And yeah, so that really started my process through this whole thing. And so, I know we all have stories about how they came into our lives, and we joke and we say, BTS will find you when you need them, I can't even tell you how true that is for me. That is so true. And, it just, the more I learned about them, the more I was like, I can't believe out of all because there's a lot of bands, right, in the world.
Yeah.
How did I find these guys? How did my algorithm land me on these guys? I have no idea.
I mean, but they were doing a lot during the pandemic, which is kind of what we're here to talk about.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. So, and how they came into my life and helped me out. So, by the way, my mom is fine.
I was about to say, just spoiler alert, her mom's fine. She sometimes appears in our lives.
Still loves Kim Taehyung.
She still loves Kim Taehyung. She will tell everyone about Kim Taehyung, the Uber driver, the checkout person at the grocery store, the Walgreens pharmacist. She will tell every single person about Kim Taehyung, and then she will show off her photo cards and everything. So she's a true believer. She's obviously OT7, but she's got that special Tay, that Tay bias.
Bless her.
Anyway.
I love it.
She is. Somebody said she's a legend. She is a legend.
Yeah.
She's a legend. She was our 1,000th
1,000th
subscriber.
member.
We
Yeah.
were
Yes,
on a phone
Chris
call.
Cousins subscriber.
We were on a phone call, and I think Stephanie was like shrieking. She was like, "Oh my god, right!" And she goes, "Quick!" And I said, "Oh my god, my mom!" So we had my mom. We got to watch my mom in real time sign up to be the 1,000th subscriber.
Yes.
And
For
I
our
sent you a
project.
poster
Cute.
of Kim
Yes.
Taehyung as a reward.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes.
So
That did happen. That did indeed happen.
Got a poster of Kim Taehyung.
for
Yeah.
those
Well, there you go.
who don't know the story behind what is often referred to as the English trilogy, which was Dynamite, Butter, and Permission to Dance, these songs are, I don't know if controversial is quite the right word, but they're not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. You don't have to like every single song that they put out. It's art. Some people it vibes with you, and some people it doesn't. That's fine. But they put out these songs. Well, let's back up a second. Right at the start of the pandemic, they were supposed to leave for what was it, almost a year long? Like it was quite a
Yeah, a
long,
world tour,
a
massive
Yeah, it
very
was a
long
true
world tour
world
called Map of the
true
Soul
world tour.
tour.
for Map of the Full 7.
Yeah. And it's captured on video in which is it the Disney documentary, the Monument series?
Yes.
Yeah, when they were told that it was being canceled, and they are devastated. And obviously the pandemic hit harder first in East Asia, including Korea. And so people in their own country were very affected, and people around the world were affected, and people were scared and anxious, and their lives were turning upside down, and including their own lives were turning upside down. And so what they put out was a series of songs called the English Trilogy. And I believe that's the first time that they had done all English songs, correct? They've always sprinkled in a phrase here and there, or sometimes a whole line. But this was the first time that they had done primarily English songs. And they said that they did it to bring about hope during hard times. So I wanted to ask, what did this group think of those songs? And how did it bring you that hope and that joy, or not really?
I didn't hear them all immediately. I think I heard Dynamite later. I definitely heard, this was before I knew what K-pop was. I had already been watching K-dramas for years. I had listened to a little bit of K-pop, but I hadn't really dove into BTS. When Butter came out, that was literally everywhere. You could not avoid it. It was in all the commercials. It was all over YouTube. And I'm one of those people that sometimes if I hear something too many times, it will annoy me. And that's what happened. I got really annoyed by it because it was literally everywhere I went. So at first, it did not bring those feelings to me. But later, I learned to appreciate song. Once I actually went down the BTS rabbit hole, I found a new appreciation for it. They're still not, I would say that those 3 songs are not my go-to BTS songs. But I've been listening to them a lot more recently because they're on my Mona Lisa playlist. And so I always find myself bopping and grooving when they're on. So yeah. I enjoy them, but they're not like my go-to songs that if somebody was like, okay, if you had to pick this many BTS songs, name them now, they would probably not be ones I would name amongst my favorites, but I love them.
Yeah. I'll share for me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I
was going to say, because I was living under a rock in my workshop listening to the Lord of the Rings audiobook, I really did not hear these when they came out. I somehow did manage to escape them. And so I didn't really notably hear any of them until either very late 2021 or early 2022. And I heard Dynamite. I was at a point where I'd started staying home with my daughter, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And I would just invent errands to do to get out of the house. And I remember I was walking through a Home Goods with my daughter in a stroller, and Dynamite came on, and I was like, I love this song. This song makes me so happy. And that was it for me. And then I started putting more K-pop on my playlist, and I watched the music video, and then I had Googled it enough that it started showing up on my algorithms with Run BTS clips, and I was like, I love these guys. These are amazing. And that's where it all started for me. So yeah, for me, it wasn't necessarily during the dark times of COVID, but it was during a different period of my life where I was very lost. And yeah, they did make me happy, and they did take me down the rabbit hole to find all the other music. All right,
For
Patricia.
me, it's really odd. For me, it's really odd because if it wasn't for those 3 songs, I would not be here.
Yeah.
And it's like the oddest thing because I found BTS through work in early 2022. And I had to write something about BTS. So I started, searching in YouTube, like, let's hear some songs. And the 3 songs that appeared were Butter, Permission to Dance, and Dynamite. And I listened to all 3 songs first. And I was like, this is not really me at all. Like, it's not my style of music. I don't, particularly like that music. But those 3 songs changed the algorithm in my YouTube. And the next video that I got suggested was Fake Love. And that was the beginning of the rabbit hole for me. Is the thing that pulled me in. I saw Jimin dancing and I was like, this guy's a dancer. He looks like a dancer. He stands like a dancer. I was a dancer when I was a teenager. And I was like, what's the name of this guy? And you know how that ends. So
I just want to know their names.
I just want to know the name of this guy.
Why does their hair keep changing color?
And then it's like, who is he? But didn't he have this color hair? No.
Yes.
He never has the same color hair. But yeah.
Anybody else?
So those 3 songs dragged me in because they changed my algorithm pretty much.
I mean, for me, I wouldn't be ARMY probably without those 3 songs because those were the introductory songs that my friend gave me. So she was like, I was like, she had gone to this concert. She was super excited. Everybody else in the group chat was just kind of like, whatever, go away. And so then I went into a DM with her and I was like, okay, tell me about your boys. Cause I was like, this is fucking rude. If I do something that super excites me, I want to be able to gush about it with people and I don't want to be shut down because they're not interested. And so I went to do a DM. I'm like, tell me about, like, she ended up calling me. She's like going on and on and on and on. And I was like, I don't know this. I don't know them. So like, what should I listen to? So I at least know what you're talking about. And so she had me listen to Dynamite first, and then Butter, and then PTD. And I was like, that's pretty good. I kind of enjoy this. I kind of like this. And then she was like, okay, but like you're into rap. So she made me listen to Mic Drop. And that was what dragged me in.
Chokehold.
The gateway.
Dragged me in. But those 3 songs were what intrigued me enough to be like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't have to talk.
I wasn't. Oh, did I freeze again?
It was a great pose though.
You were like, it was good.
You were like,
it's fine. It's whatever. But yeah,
It's
so
fine.
those were my. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Steph?
Okay, I think I love those songs. I love them. I still love them.
I like them. I
I'm
still
so
listen to
happy
them.
that I love them.
Great to love them.
Yeah, I love them. Okay, so I found, everybody knows I found them when I was living in the basement. My mom was living here when she had cancer as well. So I found them at that moment. And Butter was the first one I saw. And I was a huge Duran Duran fan back in the 80s. And Jimin with his hair, like all, like in Butter with the hair, all the different colors and the makeup and all of it reminded me of Andy Taylor from Duran Duran way back when. And I was like, I can totally get these guys. I love them. And so I went from watching Butter to watching Carpool Karaoke, which
yes, that was my next step.
Yep. And then the crosswalk thing, which they did those 3. And so that was like how I found them. And I loved them. I loved those songs. I still love those songs. But then I went from there into, I think Mic Drop was the next one for me. And then it was all downhill. I mean, just not downhill, but all down the rabbit hole from that point. But yeah, I think because those songs kind of they were a happy thing in a very not happy time for me. Yeah. So, which is, I think, the intent of them during COVID. So it had the same effect, just at a different time in my life. But So whenever I think of those, they make me happy. So I love them.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, this is a safe space. You don't have to, not every song has to be your favorite. You can just say that one wasn't my jam.
Completely.
I like this other song. It's okay. Like some people say you can't say that, and I don't think that's true. Okay.
It's true as long as you say it respectfully.
Yes, you can say,
I mean, it's like not liking something, but saying it respectfully and knowing that you still appreciate like the bulk of what that artist has done versus like, this is all crap, which we would never say.
Correct.
I mean, I play them. They're not my cup of tea, but I play them and I dance in my kitchen like everybody does. So, you know.
Listen, I heard Permission to Dance, and then not too long afterward, I got an email that was like, hey, Permission to Dance, Vegas, tickets on sale. And I was like, I gotta go check this out. So I flew to Vegas by myself, bought a ticket, PTD Vegas day 4. I was such an idiot because I'm sitting there going, so is there an opening band? No, this is a BTS concert. I'm like, oh, okay. What's this movie that they're playing in the middle? Oh, it's called a VCR, okay? It's just, they do this every concert. I was like, oh, okay. So that whole experience, those 3 English songs remind me of when I was a tiny little baby army, stupidly going to Vegas by myself to watch them in concert. But after the concert, I was like, oh, this shit rocks. I'm doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's bunch of shit for life.
This is where it's at.
Yeah.
So those songs for me really represent for me just like my one of my biggest, coolest things that I ever did, you know, as a grown adult, which is I'm going to go do this by myself. And as it turns out, when you go to a BTS concert, you really are never by yourself. You always have Army to help, you know, beside you. So yeah, that was what those mean to me. But yeah. The things I didn't know as I was watching them dance around the stage, I was like, just didn't understand.
And I say idiots with love.
No, I know.
Yeah.
They were like a big pile of puppies.
Oh, they are. Yeah, and we've I think addressed this before, but if you go on social media, sometimes there's some people who have been Army for longer look down on Dynamite era Army, Butter era Army, that you know, they're like, the you know, the latecomers or whatever, and every single one of us is in that category at a different time. So and some people think that because it was a departure from some of the music they had done before. It was a different sound. It was not in-house produced. You know, they worked with other producers and other songwriters they hadn't worked with before. So I can get that, how if, you know, you're following somebody who's doing something for a long time and suddenly they kind of take a left turn and you're like, whoa, what's that? Do you think Dynamite would have been as successful if it had been released at a different time?
Probably not.
Probably not but I still think it would have been popular because it's perfect for it's weird because like social media was like a perfect storm during that time because that's when TikTok really took off, was during the pandemic, right around the time that like Dynamite, like TikTok existed already, but it took off during the pandemic and right around the time that Dynamite came out. And so TikTok blew Dynamite up.
Because everybody was doom scrolling. That's why.
As TikTok has done to a lot of things. So it's difficult to say because would TikTok also have blown up the way that it did at the same time without the pandemic? We don't know. I think Dynamite still would have been popular, but because it's the song that like, it's the kind of song that radio loves.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it might have taken longer.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that Dynamite, I mean, it's a bop. Like, there's no denying that thing is a bop. So, I mean, I really do think that Dynamite would have been wildly successful if released under normal circumstances. But I do agree with Lisa, like the timing of it coinciding with when, you know, TikTok went viral. Would TikTok have done what it did without the pandemic is a good question. But like the timing of it corresponding with that was pretty kismet
It's like, yeah.
to really blow it up fast. But I do think it would have been massively famous regardless.
Well, because would it have gone over if you didn't have TikTok and everything? Would it have gone over well with the already existing army? You know what I mean? Enough to push it enough to
That's
go
a great
global.
question because OG Army don't, not all, but a lot of OG Army, like Katie said, don't vibe as much with Dynamite and Butter and Permission to Dance for the reason that it's not super indicative of the rest of their discography.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people came into the fandom as a result of it. But I think also a lot of them have come around because of what it's done for BTS.
Yeah, and honestly, I think whether Army vibes with it or not, Army do what Army do. And Army would have charted that bitch just because it was a BTS song.
That's true.
Didn't matter if they liked it or not.
True.
Army would have fucking charted that bitch.
That's true.
And so, and
they
all
did.
all it needed to take off the way it did was for the locals to find it.
Yeah.
And it would have exploded regardless once the locals caught it.
You know what is really interesting? When I first listened to Dynamite, which was after the pandemic, kind of, because it was the beginning of 2022. I didn't have any context of when it came out or anything. And it literally didn't drag me. And I didn't know how big it was because I was under freaking rock. So yeah, it kind of like, it makes sense that it became so big at the time that it came out. Because when I listened to it, like after, I could not understand the hype because I didn't have any context. You know what I mean? But it does make sense that it blew up the way that it did because everybody was home and everybody was bored. So if you played it a couple of times in YouTube, like it happened to me, your algorithm would change and they would start suggesting things.
It's so good.
And you just would like kind of like start going down the rabbit hole like it happened to me. So
well, and let's also, props to them for having such a discography that when you say you went down the rabbit hole for these songs, if the first song after those 3 English songs you hit was like from Dark and Wild, you were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
what? How is this the same group?
Right. Yeah. Like, and then you're like, wait a second. These guys rap. Oh, wait a second. So it's cool in a way because it was such a bridge, but also was just further proof as you went back through their discography that it's any genre. They can do any genre. That's another reason why I like those so much. And I also, because I'm contrary and I'm a little bit of I love being a little bit of a pain in the ass. It was also like for some of the, I know it's true. For some of the Western media, it was like, okay, are you going to pay attention to them? Yeah. Because you didn't, you had this divide, right? That this was K-pop and you shoved them into this little box. So now that all of this is these English songs are blowing up and everything, are you going to pay attention? And so that's what I loved about another reason why I love those songs, because it was like, here we go, now what?
Yeah.
So I think
perfectly to the next question.
I do want to say we've seen a couple comments from people who were older Army saying that they love them too. Yes, there were some very loud people. So we can't generalize to everybody who was an older Army, but there were some very loud people saying stuff about this. And that's part of why we always make it a point to welcome new Army, even younger Army than us. Because I know when all of us independently, when we started joining the fandom, felt a little bit of like people were looking down their noses at us. Mm-hmm. So that's why we make it a point to just say like, welcome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Come on in. Doors open.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
So I think we've kind of addressed the next question. The next question was about how did the pandemic change BTS's trajectory? And I think we've talked about that, which is that the English trilogy helped them bridge the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Yep. They wouldn't have released it if it hadn't been any of those songs had it not been for the pandemic.
We didn't know at the time, but the plan at that point was that they were going to do the Mott's tour, then they were all going to enlist.
Yes.
and then they were going to come back, and none of that happened the way it was originally planned.
Yeah,
And
so it completely changed their career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they might not have garnered the same level of success in the Western market had it not been for those songs. So they would have gone on their tour and it would have been wildly successful because they already had tons of ARMY. But would they have gotten all of the new people?
No,
We don't know.
Well, and can you imagine had they dropped the songs and then immediately gone into enlistment, like how that would have changed everything as well, because they wouldn't have been able to kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like it would have just been like you had this huge growth and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they
promoted
even
the
planned
shit out of those songs.
I don't think
promoted
they planned to make those songs.
No, they didn't at all.
Yeah. So they and like the whole B album was an unplanned album. So I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've said what they plan to do. And then of course out of this came the plan of staggered enlistment and solo stuff. And I think to some degree they probably had always planned on at least some of them wanting to do some solo stuff. They've always been interested in that, but
Yeah.
the plan of them each doing that was really interesting. We talked about this a little bit earlier. How do you think the cancellation of the Map of the Soul tour affected them professionally and emotionally?
Well, and also ARMY, because there are people
ARMY.
that still have their screenshots of their tickets from Mach 7, and remember how disappointing it was that it got canceled.
Disappointment is the word.
Yeah.
Is the key word. Because
Well, so many of them will say that, when you're a performer, you live for the stage. And then they had, not to mention they had gotten ready for it. They had whole crews. They were responsible for people's livelihoods. I mean, you take all of that into account, and it was a huge loss for them. And then I think if your whole identity and the thing that brings you so much joy, as many people did to a different degree, gets taken from you so swiftly.
yeah.
Right.
And into that you add the fact that you're in the middle of a global pandemic where a lot of people are locked down. You cannot get out of the house because it's like some of you were saying that when you went, the pandemic hit, you were outside the house and the restrictions were less. But I was living in a small New York apartment that had no windows in my living room, and that was so incredibly depressing. It just felt so constrictive. At some point I literally went on vacation with my ex-husband because I needed to get out of the city of my apartment. I needed to see the trees and the horizon. I was going nuts. And I can't, only believe these guys were living, at that point, they were living on their own, some of them, and some of them were living together, and they were probably locked up in an apartment, not being able to do anything, and that really, really drains you.
Yeah. So then it just became a series of, and then they kind of locked down a little bit at Hybe because they started filming so much content. They pivoted really quickly. From disappointment to how can we make this a good thing? How can we make ARMY feel better? How can we make the world feel better? And so they started filming tons of content.
Much content.
They went live all the time, just to hang out with us and do stupid shit like put Legos together and make bracelets and attempt to make smoothies
and play dancing video games.
None of these things went well. Okay.
But also think about how many ARMY got brought in by In the Soup and the Run BTS that they filmed during that time, and the stupid amount of just chaotic lives and bullshit promo that they were doing. So many ARMY got dragged in during that time because it was this source of sunshine and hope and light and laughter and fun in a world of uncertainty and a world of unsurety and darkness and loss. And there were these 7 idiots making us laugh and being creative and being funny, and it was something so many people clung to.
Yeah.
And
even though they were disappointed, they really just wanted that their immediate reaction was to help other people deal with their disappointment. And through that, it helped them in a way as well. And how many people among us count like In the Soup as like ultimate comfort television? I know Steph does.
Yeah.
You're having a bad day, I'm going to turn on some fluffy Taehyung.
Season 1, episode 3, baby.
I'm going to turn on some fluffy Taehyung. I'm going to watch Jungkook be Bob Ross. I'm going to watch Taehyung sing at Namjoon in a rowboat.
I mean,
you get punching bag.
Yoongi cutting onions and making
you get onions in that white t-shirt with.
Don't wake me up.
Yeah. Boyfriend Yoongles. We get Hajima wood carving from that whole
Jimin
situation.
song.
Like,
I stumbled across the "Don't Wake Me Up" song yesterday on Twitter, I think, and I was just like, I'm just gonna stop and listen to this.
Don't wake me up.
And Namjoon in the background doing the so good.
Namjoon doing the backup vocal.
But
The other thing that I think about the cancellation of the tour is also we know how these guys plan everything with so much time in advance. So they were probably planning this tour, but they were also thinking we're going to get enlisted right after, and then we'll be back on this year, and like probably created a ton of uncertainty for them to like think, okay, we thought we were going to be enlisting on 2021, and now when is this going to happen? You know,
right.
So yeah, those emotions.
Yeah, I was going to say, so obviously it was not without cost, and I'm going to try to combine a couple of questions since we're running out of time. Jimin in particular, of who's talked about it the most, I feel like Jimin and Yoongi have talked about it, how it impacted them a lot. And for Jimin, it ended up coming out a lot in the Face album. And I wanted to ask, number one, do you think Face would have been created if the pandemic hadn't happened?
Not as it is at all. I think it would have been a completely different album. I think he would have made an album.
Wow. Yeah,
he would have made an album, but I don't think he would have. It would have not been Face.
Yeah, and I wanted to know sort of what topics from Face resonated with you the most, because it was a very emotional album.
Loneliness. We just talked about this. It really does. It takes you on a whole journey, but you start with anger and loneliness, and I think a lot of us felt that during the pandemic, and in other times in our lives. But if you're thinking about it in terms of the pandemic, I think a lot of us felt that, because we were maybe not separated from everybody that we loved, but we were probably separated from some people, at least, that we loved. We couldn't travel to see people. And, everybody, if you had like elderly people in your life, you were cautioned to not, and so a lot of people couldn't see their parents or their grandparents or whatever, what have you. So I think that, and anger and loneliness, but then also the journey goes through realization and acceptance, and then finally gratitude for the lessons learned. And I think I personally, they all resonate with me, because it's a whole journey you have to go on in order to face something in your life, deal with it, and grow and learn and move on from it. You have to go through that whole journey, which is what that album is about.
Yeah.
To me, anyway. I literally just spent like a whole fucking week with it, so I'm sorry.
It's like, I'm sorry I'm leaking my feelings about Face everywhere. Yeah, I love.
Sorry.
Yeah, anybody else? Just what did you feel about Face in relation to the pandemic, or was there anything about it that resonated with you?
I think we were talking about this on the watch party the other day. For me, like Crazy is a song that I kind of relate a lot with, because it's a song about like doing the thing that you know that you shouldn't do, but you do it because it's your way to escape for what you want to escape, in a way. And I've actually did that in my 20s too. That like, I'm gonna party until I cannot party anymore. So
bad feelings.
Even to kind of block all the horrible things that I feel about myself. So that song for me, it really like kind of, and the video and everything kind of made a lot of sense. And I felt that like a lot, because I was like that when I was in my 20s. I would like party until I could not move, and just to block all the horrible negative stuff. And I will mask as if I was having a lot of fun, but I was not really having a lot of fun. It was just a way to cover all the things that made me feel horrible about myself. So that song for me is like, it's a hard listen, if I have to be honest. It's a very hard listen.
Yeah. I'll say for myself that the isolation, like I said, I did well for a while, and then I was very not doing well with it. And then that coincided with my journey into parenthood, which is a whole identity shift in itself. And I did have to face myself. And I was really proud of Jimin for doing that in kind of a public way, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult and uncomfortable. And being stuck with you, it's very... The concept of being comfortable with yourself, you'd think it wouldn't be that hard, but...
Well, Jimin in particular, though, has spoken a lot about the vulnerability, especially when they first debuted, around just that feeling of not feeling good enough. And then you can mask that for a while by staying busy, and then once you have to stop and actually think about it, and then you have this incredible friend named Kim Namjoon who's like, you should write your feelings, and you're like, well, shit, that actually means I gotta like
look at them.
But those live in a box.
My feelings, which is something that is very vulnerable in and of itself. So I think that always struck me for that album, is because I know how vulnerable Jimin was and is. He's very emotionally intelligent.
He is. I mean, personally, I struggle with 5 out of the 6 songs on this album. They're hard. They dredge up emotions I don't like. They make you look at yourself in a way I don't like. And so it's hard to listen to the majority of this album. And then Set Me Free Part 2 comes along, and that song was everything for me. That was my anthology. That was the song I had on repeat in my car, because the rest of the album was just everything I had gone through for the last few years.
Right.
Hard. But Set Me Free was just like, yes, I'm free now. I'm free now. And so I still struggle with the first 4 songs on that album. And then Letter is just a whole hot fucking mess anyway. In my feelings, Pak Jimin. But the first 4 songs on that, I struggle with to this day, because it's a lot of emotion. But Set Me Free Part 2, it was life-changing for me.
Yep.
I mean, as somebody that has done a lot of journaling and stuff like that, I feel that it's like precious that Kim Namjoon told Jimin to write his emotions out. Because I feel that somebody that has done it for a long time myself, just putting something on a page kind of lets you kind of see it from outside in a way. It's incredibly helpful. It helps you like kind of heal. Which is something that Yoongi has done as well with his music. So I'm so happy that they have found that escape in music, because the things that they're giving us through kind of being vulnerable and putting themselves on that music, it's amazing. It's just amazing.
And also, it's really fucking good music. Like,
It
how
really
dare they?
is.
Music.
It really
How
is
dare
good
they?
music.
And I think that when people say, your music saved me, I think it's because by being vulnerable and showing themselves, they're helping other people not feel as lonely when they're going through the exact same thing. Because I feel that a lot of us, and that goes for me, like, I think there's many things that drag me deeper into the rabbit hole, but one of the things that drag me deeper is the fact that I listen to some of their songs and I read the lyrics and I'm like, this was me 10 years ago. This was me 5 years ago. This was me yesterday. I even play songs when I'm angry.
And she comes to the Discord to tell us. She's like, it's today. Today, it's an day. Because every one of my jobs
Today's a dang day, and I'm going to play dang until my ears bleed.
Right? No joke.
Yeah. I personally feel that taking your own personal pain and hurt and using it to heal other people that you will probably never meet is probably one of the highest forms of being a fucking human being on this planet, in my opinion. Because so many people experience pain and loss and tragedy in their lives, and the pain, they lash out.
Yeah.
To themselves or to other people. They can't deal with it. So to be able to transform that into something that's healing for people that you'll never meet, it's just top level human stuff. That's BTS. So,
All right. Any final words about BTS, the pandemic, and or Face before we move on? Nope.
So.
Thank you. I'm immensely grateful to all of them always, but this month we're talking about Jimin, so I'm immensely grateful to Jimin for being that vulnerable and sharing with us. And I've said to the group, especially that he was not primarily one of the songwriters before this. I thought he did a really great job.
He was determined.
We love you, Jimin. Yeah, where is he?
How amazing is it going to be now that he's a songwriter?
Yeah, now that he has two.
I know, because he just got better. He keeps getting better and better and better and better. And so.
And those little shits on Suchita, like, this album. You keep saying this album. Does that mean there's another album?
Some of us called that one.
Little shits.
Look at him.
Anyway. All right. Thanks for being here for the discussion. We're going to wrap up with some reminders. Let's start with Christina.
All right. So voting, streaming, charting is a wonderful, wonderful channel in our Discord. It's where we take all the good voting advice and all the good reminders and we put them into one easy place. And especially for those of you that do not go on the Twitters anymore, those of us that do, bring that back and put it in one spot for you so you can help push the guys for charting and voting and things. And it's always awesome that we also celebrate too, since Blood, Sweat, and Tears is now the 8th video that BTS has done that reached 1 billion views on YouTube. Thank you.
Ironically, I believe Dynamite is the next target.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Dynamite
awesome.
is the next.
Yeah, so we do a lot of that stuff in that channel, and then I summarize it and put it on our website as well so that everybody can help. No matter what social media you are on, you can help push the guys towards those milestones. So come join us in the Discord for that.
Indeed.
Yep. If you'd like to join our Discord, which is completely free, it is also at the link pinned in the chat, ap529.com/links. Excuse me. It's a mobile app. It's on desktop. It's a web browser. So come do that. We do watch parties most days of the week. The first watch party and kind of our flagship watch party is our weekly blog content that Quince hosts on Thursday evenings at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have a European version hosted on it's Wednesday afternoon U.S. time, Wednesday evening Europe time. Come hang out with us because we love, as you can tell, we love talking about this stuff. Yep. Come hang out with us.
Short Spanish announcement. Si alguien que nos esté viendo ahora habla español, estoy intentando preparar algo para el capítulo 2 de AP529. Así que, por favor, si estés en el Discord, mandarme un mensaje. Quiero buscar a gente que hable español para hacer algo juntos. Gracias.
What she said. Yep.
Yep. Just exactly that.
Mhm.
All of that.
All of that.
All
Love it.
Mhm. We are about to hit week 64 of our blog, which will be the last week of March, and we will be talking about Muse, the album that we didn't know but kind of knew was happening.
There were hints.
And week 64 will be called "You Are the Light in My Darkness." And we'll be dropping, I say, midnight-ish now, because we like keeping you guys guessing.
Sometime tomorrow.
around midnight-ish.
It's gonna be dated 3/31 at some time.
It's gonna be dropping on 3/31, y'all. It's gonna be dropping on 3/31. So stay tuned for that, and then come and join us next Thursday. Europe has their weekly content watch party on Wednesdays. North America has it on Thursday nights, as Katie mentioned. Come join us, and we will talk about the blog. We have a great time doing it, so come and join us. Check it out. A lot of fun stuff there, including talking about Are You Sure? And lots of other fun stuff too. So I know it just happened, but let's talk about it again.
And Pepto. Are we talking about
Can't
Pepto?
talk about it too many times.
Yeah.
All right. As I mentioned at the beginning of this live, we go live twice a week on. We are moving our Wednesday lives back to TikTok now that the app is not currently banned in our country. So we're moving that back to TikTok. It will be on the project account, the Army Project 529, over there on TikToks, where we're going to have our midweek tea. The midweek tea is where we bring you member news from the week and talk about shenanigans that may or may not have happened out here on Kim Namjoon's internet with their full chest. So we love the midweek tea. We have a lot of fun, and we'll talk about any kind of member news that happened during the week. And there's going to be quite a bit. Some stuff that's happened this week. So join us on Wednesday. It's at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on TikTok. And then next Sunday, we'll be back here on YouTube at the usual time.
The TikTokies.
All right. Take it home, Steph.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody for joining us tonight and taking this dive into kind of what can be a really deep sort of, triggering, depressing topic. But I think what we are lucky to have is the 7 guys who turned a pretty dark time into something beautiful and have made the most of it and changed a lot of our lives because of it. So thank you guys for joining us, for all your chatter in the comments. I was trying to watch both, be a part of the conversation and watch comments. You guys have a lot to share. We love you. We're grateful for you. We're thankful for you. And we will see you all on Wednesday on TikTok.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye, everybody. Love you. Take care of yourselves.
Hooray!
Thank you for the hearts.